Well, the one accident we have that I know for fact is an elderly couple crossing the street, and I have no idea whose fault it is. It's not my place to say it, but the result is that the elderly husband, died due to his injury.
Oh, God.
And I know them. She lived on Grove. She lives.
Wait. So what happened?
I guess they crossed. They were crossing over to on Mayview to just. It's just a CD Avenue, CD Street. So
like mid block or at the crosswalk?
Yeah, not this. Like a little bit inside Mayview,
Okay.
And so she was. I'm sorry, right here. She was crossing.
Okay.
And a a regular sedan hit her. And of course, you can look that up with the police. They have all the record. But
when did that happen?
That happened approximately about a year ago.
A year ago.
Okay. So the husband passed away. She was in the hospital for months. But finally, we saw.
But he died because of the.
Yes, he actually. I talked to the widow because she lived right on Grove with us. So she lived on this part of the Grove. So I saw her walk, and I want to send her my condolences to her husband. Yeah. So she said, "Yeah, it's hard. She lost her husband."
Yeah, it's terrible. Wait, so the car was speeding, or what happened?
I don't know. See, I don't want to jump the gun because I'm not the body investigator, so I would not jump the gun. I don't know.
I assume that someone did. I mean, if someone died, so it had to be investigated.
You know, that's a very good question.
I don't remember reading about this, but it's been a year ago, so I don't know.
And it's really sad because, but he is a layman standing from the outside, knowing very little about the investigation.
You sure he died because of the auto accident?
Oh, absolutely. No. He died due to injury of the accident because I talked to while he was in the hospital for months. Finally, he succumbed to it. He passed away. Of course, he's old age, but I'd rather go some other way than get hit by a car. But my understanding is this: is that from my experience, that if you're driving within the speed limit, there kids will make mistakes and there will be jaywalk and stuff. You should be able to stop just in time. I know accident will happen, but in this case, to be frank with you, I'll just stick to the facts is that there were two pedestrians and both were knocked down. Both of them were in the hospital for a very long time.
Was it the daytime?
Yes, it was right after I just dropped my kid off on a bike. I came back, there were yellow tape on Mayview, and residents around there were not allowed to cross, and we found out later on that it was
like in broad daylight.
Yes, it was a major injury because there were sirens and everything. It was I believe it was approximately 8:15 because we barely dropped our kids off. So we found out later on, and the only reason I found out was because she lived in the neighborhood, and I talked to her. I know, it is terrible. And then on my son, which happened less than a week and a half ago, this one, all witnesses point to it's his fault because
Can you show me what this is?
Yes, and this one
actually before you move on to the next one, I just want to check it out.
Okay.
So you said it was like right over here.
Okay, I'm gonna tell. Oh yeah, I know exactly. It is still yellow. Came from a year and a half ago. Okay. It's still there. So this is Middlefield. This is Mayview. I believe it happened somewhere right here, right there, between these two houses.
One thing I want to do is I want to check out the satellite view here, just so that we can see what's on here.
Residents, all homes.
So homes. Okay, yes. So it's this parking on the street.
Yes, and so
it's not a very big street, though.
No, it's not.
But it's just one lane each way.
One lane each way.
And so they were trying to cross here.
I think she, knowing her route, because I see her almost every morning, not lately because, I don't know. Yeah. But she and her husband would walk to Mitchell Park. Okay. They pick up the newspaper and they walk back.
Okay.
And I believe they just crossed the street and that's how they were hit.
So did a car turn this way?
That I don't know. I believe the car's going this way. Okay. Again, I think she's one of the parents that probably. I'm guessing this is all speculation because I don't want to jump the gun.
I see.
I believe it's the parents rushing to drop kids off because it's consistent with the time when school started. Dropping off kids. So it's right there, Greg. Okay. Right there. Huh. And there's there's a house there. This house, so the red paint mark is somewhere right here, and it's still visible.
There's no crosswalk here, right?
There's absolutely no crosswalk. We have a cross guard here, which is very helpful. Okay. because that's without it, I think you're gonna see more incident. But thank goodness, doing drop off and beginning of school and after school, there's a cross guard right there. So thank goodness for that. But I believe the incident was inside.
Why would they cross the street there? Like what's on the other side of the street then? Why would they cross?
Well, just to give you context, I cross the street because sometimes I walk. The Mitchell Park Library is over here, so I walk, right? Because you force you to be on this side, and if you live on this side, you have to eventually cross. So you come over.
Okay.
So I do that.
It looks like a pretty small street. So
yes.
How fast are cars going on the street?
It ideally should be 25 miles. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Ideally it should be 25 miles per hour. Easily 40.
Really? Is there a stop sign on the street?
Okay. There's a stop sign here.
Okay.
Nothing here. Nothing. Okay. And then you go all the way to the traffic lights.
Okay.
So that's what we were proposing. Hope and I were proposing that somehow like speed bump lights or something. And the cities at the time, right after the incident, say no, we don't need it.
What do the neighbors say? Like, what do people say who live on the street right now?
Well, Greg, I don't run for any office, so I really don't know what the data is. But I can only say,
just really,
off the cuff, I talked to all the neighbors, which is unscientific because you're into data and they all agree that we need something to slow down. But I think these are kind of something that we can pull the date on. I think because just off the cuff, I talked to people at the dog park and stuff. They say, I think it's going way too fast. And this is where, Greg,
if you were to estimate how fast people are going, how fast do you think they're going on the street?
If I'm guessing right now, 35.
35. Oh, 10 miles a bit more.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because especially when there's nothing here, empty, people fly right through, and this is when they stop right there because of the light. All in that zoom, and you can see there's not. Yes, there's a stop sign.
What time did this occur?
Like I said, between 8:15 to 8.
Oh, in the morning.
Right in the morning, and it's because I barely finished dropping my kid off.
Okay.
My daughter at Hoover, and that sirens. I mean, all basically. Right here, everything was blocked. All hell breaks loose right there. So, I don't know if you got the time. Once in a while, if you do happen to bike, you can see right here. That's where the city put the nice red carpet, whatever the fake. It's awesome, but you got this donut circle right there already. People are spinning donuts, and I was walking the dog with my daughter, take her to this park to rollerblade. A truck just ran a stop sign, just right through it. Just, I guess because they ran the stop sign, and even another person run up to you. Did you see that? I'm glad your daughter stopped. If not, she would have been hit.
Are there bike lanes here?
Yes, Ross they just made a bike lane. You see, there's this updated. See?
Yeah, it shows like shells.
It show the red here too. So you got a pretty good updated. Yep, right there. Yep.
Oh, you see donuts too.
Yeah. Oh, you do see donuts?
Or the skid marks? Are those skid marks?
You do see? Yeah. Wow. No, it's worse. I know. You see, it's really scary because you see a complete circle.
Oh. Okay.
So my point is that you must be trying to burn rubber because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And I use this road a lot because this is where we come home, right?
So let me ask you this. Okay, so there's parking on each side of the street. There's no bike lanes here. So
no bike lane at all?
Yeah. So it's kind of, do kids bike on this road?
Yeah. Oh, yes, a lot. Neighborhood kids.
Really? Okay.
Big time. Big time. Yes. I'm glad you asked. And that's what I left. This is a major thoroughfare.
Where are the kids going?
They're going JLS and Hoover and Fairmeadow. You got three schools within this. Preschool in this area.
Do they bike through the community center?
Yeah, no, they bike through the park. They cut through the park.
Okay.
Like my daughter do.
Okay.
So she does see. They cut right through. And so Hoover is somewhere over here. Yep, Herbert Hoover.
Okay. So they cut through and then they go this way.
Yes, they go this way. And then don't forget, you got JLS, which is right
here.
Yes, right there.
Okay.
And you got Fairmeadow. You see that? So you got three school. And you got residents live here. You can see homes.
Yeah.
Kids, this is a thoroughfare for bikes and parents who are driving and
they don't
anxious.
They don't take East Meadow?
I believe both, but now with the traffic circle, I think they're trying to avoid it and go this way.
I see.
But that's my guess, Greg. I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, it's not scientific, but that's my guess.
Okay. And so what happened? You said your Tell me about the incident with your kid.
Okay, yeah, my son, I believe now that, according to witness, it was his fault because he's trying to beat a yellow light.
How old is he?
He is 14.
14, okay.
So, believe me, I lectured him. So it's a relationship.
Was he 14 at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
It happened just a week and a half ago.
A week and a half ago.
So he tried to beat a yellow light.
Okay.
And he T-boned or hit the car. So
he was on a bike?
He was on a bike.
Okay.
And the good news is that he wore his helmet.
Oh, okay.
But having said that, and I already admitted to you that 99% probably is his fault because he's trying to beat a yellow light. But having said all that, this is a major consternation, and I don't know how much we can do about that because it's a thoroughfare, right? As you know, people trying to cut through the freeway, so there's not much you can do. However, what we can do.
Can you tell me what happened? So what time was this?
I think it was around 3:30, 3:45.
Okay. So just after school.
Yes, after school. He's rushing home, and so he's
going from JLS.
He's trying to beat the yellow light.
But yes, he's coming from JLS.
Gun. He's at gun.
Oh, he's at gun. Okay, so going from gun to.
So he's going east on East Meadow.
Okay, it's going this way.
Yep, and the car is heading north on Middlefield Road. Yes, heading north on Middlefield.
I see.
So he's trying to beat a yellow light, and apparently, you know, when you're trying to beat a yellow, it turns green on you, right? And bam! I mean, it turns red on him, but green on going north.
So he crashed into the car.
He crashed into the car.
Was he okay?
Concussion, but good news, you always wore your helmet. So you got kids all the way.
But did he get thrown into traffic?
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. And when he phoned, thank goodness it happened right here. And you know, I live over here, so it didn't take me that long to come out. His helmet is crushed from one side, so it's good that he wore his helmet. But he got road rash, road burn.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure he learned. Now he learned that you gotta follow traffic rules.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, but
does that crossing guard show?
I think he came kind of late. I didn't see a crossing guard. It could be because it's a little late.
Oh, okay.
So, the crossing guard works only certain hours, right? And then I think they leave.
Oh, I see.
But
does this cross or other crossing guards on this?
I believe so. I believe there's again they work in a certain time, but. During the crash, I did not see a crossing guard, but that's because he has track meet, so he could have come home. The time frame is, I think, is past the crossing guard's time.
Okay.
So the good news is that he suffered concussion and road rash, but he learned from this. I sure hope because it should be imprinted on his head. He should not do that.
He got hit. So he was right over here.
He got hit right at the intersection because I saw cops, ambulance, everything. So he's going east on East Meadow, and this car's going like that. So I saw him when he was right off right at the intersection. So it's obvious that he.
I see. So the car had put in front of him, and he hit the car. Oh, I see.
So he tried to beat a yellow light, and that's exactly what happened. So
what did the driver say?
Oh yeah, well the driver. She just froze. She said your son hit, and then there's witnesses corroborating witnesses say your son run a red light, basically. And so, but then I talked to him. He said, "Dad, it was yellow." I said, "Well, you know, typical. You're beating a yellow light. You lose out.
You know,
you lost out. Exactly."
One complaint I hear from people is that sometimes bikers don't necessarily obey the traffic signs as well as they should be, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I'm glad he's not hurt though. I mean, that's good.
What you said is absolutely correct. I told him that. I said it's a relationship, both car and biker. You have to respect the rule of the roads because if not, it'll be chaos.
Yeah. But you know, the flip side of it is that I actually think it's really important that that people feel safe biking, right? Because with all the traffic and parking issues, right? One of the ways to actually solve this problem is make it so that people want to bike, right? And feel safe biking, right?
Yes.
Because I know I talked to some people in city council, and some people in city council don't feel safe biking, right? And I'm like, hey guys, if you're not feeling safe on biking, right? If you can't, and you live closer than me to City Hall, if you can't bike to City Hall, how do you think other people feel about biking, right?
Very good point.
And so I think it's really important that people feel safe, right? Because if they don't feel safe, they're not going to do it, right?
I agree.
And for me, I'm an adult, so like even sometimes I don't feel safe, right? And imagine a kid, right? How they feel, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go back to this about this other thing that you brought up first. So
yes, maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
So Okay, so there's a traffic light here.
There's none.
None. There's a
And
stop sign here.
Four-way stop sign.
Four-way stop sign.
Yes,
Okay.
four-way stop sign. We
Okay.
need something.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, something to slow them down. So maybe that's why we have to work with body of legislature like you, and hopefully you can recommend something like how about some sort of speed bumps, or I think speed bump would be the cheapest, right, for the taxpayer, because all you need is just ask for have public work of bum. That's it.
The problem though that you run into because I became friends with my neighborhood association because I lived on a cut through street.
Yeah.
And I also wanted, but the thing that you run into is that whose house you put the speed bump in front of.
Exactly. People are not going to be happy.
That's
Exactly.
the issue, right?
That is the issue.
So,
how about like some sort of, like these white dots?
Oh yeah.
And that is nice and attractive. And even if I live right there, I should not be.
Where would you put the white dots though?
You know what? If I would, you cannot just have one, right? Because it's a long, if you can see by your map. So you would put like, at least I would say from this whole length, I would say 3 times. I would be more than happy to put just before the big grove when kids comes out. There's another one too for kids to be aware of is as they're approaching Middlefield, there should be some sort of warning that you are going. Kids will be kids.
Like you mean like sometimes you have those signs on radar, they tell you your speed.
That would be nice, but
people,
I think you are more experienced than me because you live in a cut-through street, and I think you voiced something that I did not know right away. You said neighbor don't like speed bumps.
Well, the problem is whose house, because they make noise, right?
Exactly.
So it's like whose house?
Exactly.
They're going to be in front of, right?
But if you put these white dots, I believe it's fine.
But what would you put the white dots in the center, or I mean, we're like.
I would. This is my suggestion. I would put into. I mean, the whole length of the whole width of Mayview.
Oh,
so as car drive through.
It bumps over.
Yeah, bumps over. So but it's not a speed bump. It's kind of like. Boom.
Yeah, but still, you have to imagine your neighbor, whoever that neighbor is, that has gets close in front of us. They may not like it, right? So
unless you want to make it into a bike road like Lewis, then that is no speed bump, no noise, but it's green. So kids can. Can we do that?
That's one thing I was thinking about. Is so you see how we have these parked cars on each side. So one thing that a lot of cities are doing is this idea of protected bike lanes, right?
Yes.
And what protected bike lanes are is having normally you have like the moving car, the bike lane, the parked car, then a sidewalk, right? That's usually the configuration.
Yes.
But what a lot of cities are doing is going from moving car to parked car to bike lane and then sidewalk. So the bike lane is in between the parked car and the sidewalk.
And the bike lane is between. Okay.
Right. And the reason why that is generally good, or why a lot of people are doing it, is because you have a 2-ton vehicle that's protecting a bike going up and down the street, right, from the moving cars, right? Because the moving cars are like several tons, right? The bike is 30 pounds, right, or whatever, right?
I kind of like that.
Yeah. So, and the other thing it does is when you move parked cars in more towards the center of the street, what that does is it causes people to want to slow down.
Yeah. Because
the street, when you have a bike lane instead of a parked car there, the street doesn't seem so narrow, so you tend to go faster. So
I like that.
Yeah. So this is something which the only thing is that right now it looks like the street.
You don't have room though.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't look like. It looks like there's not.
Yeah, you don't have room.
You don't. There's no dedicated bike lanes. Although it is a pretty wide street. I mean, I'm looking at this, right? I mean, you have a parked car here. I mean, it's actually. What kind of curves are these? Are these like
typical
regular
Palo Alto curves that you can go right up? Now,
but you see that there's a park. Let's look at this, right? So there's a parked car here. There's a parked car here, right? So I mean, theoretically, you could move the car out like 3 feet, right?
Yes,
right?
you can.
You can move this car out 3 feet.
And then make a bike lane sandwich right there. That would be safe.
Then what happens is the street becomes more narrow. Because what if you make a street more narrow, cars will slow down. Of course. It's like it's the
Bernoulli's law. You're an engineer, you know that.
Yeah,
so I understand that.
It's the easiest way to slow down cars, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Fluid flow, right?
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I am all for that because you know why, Greg? kids nowadays, especially my daughter, I told her to ride on the sidewalk anyway.
Yeah.
So, but technically, she's doing what you just say. Technically, she
Yeah.
visually in her head, I'm telling her pretend the car's out here, and you say,
well, my
she's
kids,
doing that
my
anyway.
kids go to Green Middle School.
Okay.
And on Green, because there's no bike lanes at all on Middlefield. Well, there are some part of Middlefield does on the northern side. In front of the school, they have like those little round white things, but on the other side, on the south of Oregon Expressway, they don't, right? So kids will basically ride on the sidewalk, right? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're already doing what you're saying already.
So my question for you is this, right?
Yes.
Because I want to figure out how it turns into action, right?
Yes, correct.
So okay, so I think speed bumps, unless you find a neighbor that really is okay with it, that's a hard part, right?
I think speed bump will be tough. It's a tough sell
because
you mentioned something, and as you know, you gotta make it into action. Otherwise, it's just another playing the violin. It's a waste of my time.
Exactly. So the question would be, would the neighbors along Mayview, would they be okay with having the parked cars moved toward, like, would that, because that's different, right? I mean, so
we need to do some polling then.
That's right. Well, well, I guess the question is, do you guys have a neighborhood association? Or?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And
what would,
yeah, we will. I will talk. I know the leader. Well, we just had well, you went. I think I saw you at the picnic. That was the neighborhood picnic.
When was that?
Green Meadow. That was just less than 2 months ago.
Oh,
so
I didn't
see
go to it.
Yes, oh, did you?
I don't think I went. But anyways, whatever the case is, at the next neighborhood meeting.
Oh no, I saw. It was another guy. What's his name? Warback.
Okay.
My apology.
Okay, no problem. But what you should do though is at the next
you did not. Yes.
At the next neighborhood meeting, bring it up, right? Say, hey, how many people would be okay with having protected bike lanes, right?
Yeah.
What this would do to the street is, it would significantly slow down cars. But see, it may slow down so much that people might be upset. Okay, so I think the question would be, how would the neighbors feel if the street was basically essentially
let me voice out with the neighborhood. Now here's another one too, Greg, and I suggest this with no impact because the city already done it without no problem. Which is, if I may,
sure.
Where's maybe?
Sorry.
I may have closed it on you. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Let me try to open it up. This thing's like very finicky.
Is it iPad? It's iPad.
No, it's Android, and it's almost like
I love it. Well, look at me. I use Android, so
but this thing is like, it's like sometimes is like a little bit hard to use.
No, it's been doing great. Did I touch it or something?
No, it's just like.
No, I think I rotate and then it went dead on me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. But okay. I have it up. Okay,
so where is that? Maybe if I may move back nicely, you see here, the city already done that with no impact, just bike lane. Can we? Now, if we go for this option, we don't have to ask for anything. People still park.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, is that it's just paint on the ground, right? So psychologically, it doesn't really get people to slow down.
No, it does not. System is still going fast.
Because for them they see a white street, right? So any street that's narrow, people will go slower on.
Yeah.
And this is without any traffic enforcement. People will go slower just because psychologically, right? They will go slower. And you don't need any traffic enforcement. There's no noise, right? But the trade-off is you go slower, right? And some people may not want to go slower, right? Some people may want to go faster, right? So that's the question, is like, if you could bring this up in neighborhood, because I tell you what, if you could bring this up in neighborhood association, if people say yes, we really want it, the next step would be to go to the Planning Transportation Commission, right? And then have them kind of look at this more closely. And if they're good with it, then it goes to council, and then it's very easy, right?
Easy after that. It's just a matter of.
But the hard part is if everyone disagrees, then it's very hard, right?
It's extremely hard.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, if I may interrupt you a little bit. So I'm gonna go for what you recommended. Polling is the first thing I'm gonna do.
Just informally. You don't have to be scientific about it.
Exactly. I'm gonna poll first, and then. But the second thing is I have to have option 2. But the option 2, you mentioned it. I agree with you, because Lewis, people drive very fast and they go faster because
it looks wide, right? It looks wide and open. So
exactly.
So I think the protected bike lanes have 2 issues. One of them is that it does slow people down, right? it slows the street down, and people sometimes don't want that. The second big issue with it is that so as a driver, you park your car, and now you have to walk a little bit further to the curb. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be about 3 feet or so, or 5 feet away from the curb, and so people sometimes they say, "Oh, I'm gonna get hit by a bike," right? Or but to me,
potentially it could happen.
Potentially, yeah, but potentially for me, it's like getting hit by a bike, but getting hit by a 40-pound bike or 30-pound bike is very different than getting hit by a 2-ton car, right? That's going twice the speed, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, really, what it takes to make something like this happen is to talk to your neighbors, right? Yeah. Talk to the neighbor association, and if it looks like it's pretty uniform that people all are supportive of this, then it's very easy, right, to change it, right? If
do I need to get a form, have them
petition.
Initial petition? What do you suggest?
I suggest something really easy.
Talking is easy.
Yeah. What I always suggest is at neighbor association, talk to your neighbors, see what they think.
Just feel them out, right?
Feel them out, yeah. Feel them out. If people are like, "Oh my God, this is great, this is wonderful," okay, that's great. If people are really hesitant, like, "Oh no, I want to drive fast on the street," right? And there are people like that, right? I mean, so, like in College Church, the neighbor association. So I'm on a cut-through street, and a lot of my neighbors, half the neighborhood is on cul-de-sacs, right? So half of them on cul-de-sacs, half of them on cut-through street. So I happen to go to cut-through street, right? And I have kids, and at the time they were very little, and I wanted the cars to drive slowly, right? But my neighbors who lived in cul-de-sacs wanted to drive fast, right? Exactly. So you have people who want to drive fast and people who want to drive slow, right? So there's a bit of a tension. So you have to figure out what do people that live there, how they feel, right? Do they feel like I must drive fast to my house, right? Or do they feel like no, I want this to be bike, but I want it to be safe for kids. I don't want elderly people get because you can imagine also the elderly couple, they got hit by the car, right? You can imagine if the street was narrow, right? Because you have these parked cars, the distance that they have to travel, right, is much less. So the chance of them getting hit is a lot less because it's much more of a residential street, right? But the thing is that there are people who want to drive fast, right? Yeah. And so it's kind of like that balance. How many people want to drive fast versus how many people want to have the street safe for bikes and kids, right? So that's
a balance.
Yeah. And then speed bumps are hard because of the noise issue. And then
the bump will be a hard sell.
The other thing to do is do bulb outs. Mm-hmm. But the people the thing with bulb outs, or the problem with bulb outs, is that you lose parking. Okay, so that's why people generally don't like that either, because you lose a parking space, right? And parking is always very valuable, right?
Okay.
So protected bike lanes usually is a pretty good thing, right? But it's just the thing about it is that it really does slow down cars tremendously. Especially if a street this small, it's gonna be really tight. I mean, you go to Preston Park, you go to some of those streets, and the streets are like only one car could pass at a time. It's so ridiculously slow, right? I mean, I
kind of like that, but you're right. Yeah, but people may not like it.
Yeah. So really kind of what it is talk to your neighbors, and you might be surprised, right?
Okay.
So what we did in College Terrace was we did a mix of traffic circles plus speed tables, right? So on the arterials we put speed tables, and that seemed. I mean, so College Terrace used to suffer from a lot of cut-through traffic, like a tremendous amount, right? This was my big topic, was the cut-through traffic, right? And with the traffic circles and the speed tables, it really had a pretty dramatic effect. But there was a lot of controversy, right? It took a lot of discussion to kind of figure out, and also there's a lot of trial and error. Like some things worked, some things didn't work. Like one of the issues we had was we had the roundabout, but it was too small, so cars could just go straight through, right? So we had to figure out how to make it bigger, and so there's all these kind of things you kind of have to figure out, right? But the first part is kind of understand what the neighbors think, right?
Sure.
Yeah, because I think from the city point of view, if neighbors are for it, easy. It's easy.
That's easy.
Yeah, it's harder.
I have to find out. Yeah. I have to find out. Now, let me ask you, the next step is that once I find out the polling, I mean,
just how people feel.
What's my next step? Working through the neighborhood association?
Well, here's what I think. If you find that people are pretty gung-ho about
receptive,
then I would just do a quick petition. And I don't think you have to kill yourself, right? I mean, what you could do is you could set up something online, or you could, if you really are into it, you could do a door-to-door thing, right? Because you're not talking about that many houses, right?
Yeah.
And if you find, when you talk to the neighborhood association, they may just do that themselves, right? Like for instance, we formed like a traffic subcommittee, right? In Flush
Yeah,
Terrace.
sure.
So they may form a traffic subcommittee, right? And they will help. Yeah. And so what if you come to the city with a petition with like virtually everyone saying we want this,
Yeah, then that's easy.
then
That's
it'll fly right through. The
exactly.
hard part is when have to be say one thing, have to say other thing, then it's like, oh my god.
Well, then we have to work
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Okay. But thank you so much,
Hey, thank you
Greg.
so much.
Thank you so much for taking my time.
Of course, yeah. Just keep up with it, okay?
Yes,
Don't-
I will. Appreciate
okay. Thank you.
it. Hey, thanks, Raj. Thanks for sending me.